You get these coaches and they're just pouring into you and they're giving you so much value. It's called a launch. And then you sign up, you're like, oh my gosh, I got so much value. This person's going to be my coach. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with them. I'm going to be forever transformed. And you get your credit card and you sign up and then you never see that coach again.
What? Today, we have the honor of hosting Renee Dominguez, a mindset and business coach, to empower women to level up their business. Renee, thank you so much for coming here today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so I met Renee back in a women's networking event in San Diego. And, when I met her, I immediately just fell in love with who she is as a person and also how she is as a professional. So thank you again. It really is an honor. So we're going to get straight right into it. What led you to become a mindset and business coach?
Yeah, great question. What led me to become a mindset and business coach was God. To be honest, it was not part of my plan. I was corporate Renee and I created this identity. And this identity only got me so far. And I had actually went to a women's networking event to share, to vent, to be honest, what I was going through. I was so frustrated. I was the only woman in a male dominant industry where in my organization, I was the only woman in the room. So I could not use my voice. I could not advocate for myself because I was never enough or I was too much. And to be honest, God just put random women in front of me who did not know each other, who did not
Mhm.
know me. And they were all raising their hands saying, me too. I'm going through that too. Decisions that are mine to be made are being made by others. Who do we go to for support? We're
Mhm.
educated. So what other resources are available? And Stephanie, this was 8 months of random women coming up to me, having these conversations, saying, me too. And finally, I sat back in my chair and I'm like, okay, God, you're really funny. You got a sense of humor. You got my attention. What do you want me to do? And that was a Saturday. That Monday, I went into work, the same song and dance. My boss is telling me how I'm not enough.
Mhm.
And because I gave God permission, I gave the guardian angels permission to like, okay, what do you want to do? They're like, ooh, now we got permission. We could do our work.
Mhm.
And literally an outer body experience happened where the words "I quit" came out of my mouth, and I was looking down saying like, "No, we don't know if we can quit. This was not on the table."
Mhm.
But that journey led me into what do I wish I had? What are all these women saying that they're needing and they're not getting that
Mhm.
support or their resources? As women, especially in male dominant industries, we have to have a thick skin and we can't show vulnerability. We can't
Mhm.
show weakness. So we're never going to raise our hand saying we need support. So what do I wish I had? So first,
Right.
I was all about checking off the boxes. Get a degree, get another degree, get a certification, collect 7 more of those certifications. And so I thought, do I need a third degree in entrepreneurship? Like that's what I knew how to do. And thankfully I had some people in my corner who laughed with love and said, "No, you don't need a degree, but if you really want some something to validate
Mhm.
you and who you are, get certified as a business coach." So I'm like,
Mhm.
done. So that's what I did. So I just followed my purpose. And I'm really
Mhm.
passionate about our soul's purpose. I followed my purpose because this was entrepreneurship. That's not a word I ever used. I didn't know
Mhm.
what that meant. I had no clue. I'm like, I was going into a new territory, so naive, but that might have also helped me because I was so naive. And it was about our mindset. It's about our words that we use and the
That's so
energy that we
true.
hold with those words. I need to, I have to, I
Yeah.
know I should. And they just hold us back from our true potential. So in empowering women, I want women to know that they're not alone, that they are supported. We are all spiritual beings having human experiences. And when we can tap into our soul's purpose, we become limitless. We open up that
Mhm.
gateway to anything and everything that could be possible for us. And so my mission is to allow women to see that portal for themselves so that they can create their generational wealth, that they can create their legacy, that they can leave their imprint on this world saying, I made a difference.
Right. No, that's perfect. It's like, "You guys hear it? That was it."
Done.
No. Oh, no. No, but what were those, degrees and the certifications that you felt like, "Okay,
Yes.
I can do this. I can be a business coach." You know, what
Yeah.
did you have to do to feel like you are validated enough to become a business coach?
That's a great question, and I don't know if we ever get there.
Mhm.
'Cause I'm still looking for I always 8 years into it, still looking for
Mhm.
validation. Because I had conditioned myself for validation for 20
Mhm.
something years. So but I've learned to use my words differently now. So the
Mhm.
mindset part of it, instead of saying like, "Oh, I need validation," I go and say, "What have I already created success around? How did I do it?" Because then I can replicate it.
Right. Well, that's true, and I'm sorry, at the end, it's mainly confidence. But for somebody, let's say somebody's like, trying to become this business coach, and they feel like I don't have enough credentials to do this. What would you say
Yeah.
is maybe a certification or a degree that would help, I guess, for them to
Oh,
go that route?
yeah, I love that question. So what does someone need to have that validation to go into being a business coach or to
Mm,
be anything that they want
anywhere.
that's outside
Right.
of the current circumstances? I would look to see who do I admire
Mhm.
and then look to see what credentials do they have.
Mm,
So I'd pick 10 people, so that's a nice pot of people to look into and look what credentials they have. Biggest influencers don't even have degrees, but yet sometimes we think we need to have a degree. So I would reverse engineer someone's background.
mm,
Oh, maybe they're very business savvy. Okay, maybe their background is in finance. Someone like a business coach, let's say Tony Robbins, he never went to college. And
mm.
he's probably the biggest business coach in the world. He
I
wrote
didn't know
books
that.
on finance without having a finance background.
Wow, I did not know that.
But he did that because who he surrounded himself with. He's all, I'm not the expert, but I have the platform and I will bring in the experts to help me.
Mhm.
So look for people. So if you want to start something, let's say a business coach, a new career, who do I already know who's doing what I want to do?
No,
And seek
that's
mentorship.
no, that's perfect because it's like people are constantly feeling like they need 100 degrees until they get to that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Would you say now that you are a business coach, what does it differentiate from what you expected business coaching would be like? What would it
Yeah. And I don't really
uh, did you have
own
an
the word
expectation?
business coach because
Mhm.
it's so generic. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, coaching is a modality I
Mhm.
use and I do, but I'm more of a mentor. I'm helping you with
Mhm.
strategies. I'm really helping you on the business end of it. And when it comes to wanting to be something more, like, I don't want us to put a label on it because then it pigeonholes us, but when we can say, like, "I'm gonna be bigger than my current circumstances. I'm gonna allow my dreams to drive me and to fuel me, and if I'm gonna do something I've never done before, who do I know who could support me?" And then invest into yourself to get you where you wanna go. We
Mhm.
have so many skills, we have so many attributes within us that we can tap into. But what God is here won't get us to where we want to go, that next
Mhm.
level. So
Amen.
seeking mentorship, but don't see it as a debt, see it as an investment because the goal is for you to 10x, 100x that investment. But it requires you to not have just confidence because confidence comes when we take action. So when someone says, I'm going to wait till I'm more confident, that's just fear. And we know that.
Yeah.
But when we say, I'm going to take action and confidence will follow suit, that's very empowering. So when someone wants to just start anything new, say, I'm going to invest into myself. It's cheaper than a degree,
Mhm.
it's cheaper than,
That's
you know,
true. That's a good point.
certification.
Yeah. That's such a good
But
point.
see it the same way because it's
Mhm.
also you're investing in yourself, and it could be a tax write-off if it's business oriented.
That's good to know. Seeing she's dropping golden nuggets as she talks. And who was your first client, Renee? And how was that first experience?
Yes, my first clients were my friends, and I used them as
Mhm.
case studies because 'cause I'm like, "I don't know what I'm doing. I got all this knowledge. I got some new skills. Let me play with them and see." how they fit and do I like the fit on me?
Mm,
So I started with what I knew. I looked at resumes for years because of my role in corporate. So I knew what caught my eye. And so I'm like, let me help people with their resumes because so many use generic templates. They write their resume as a job description, not a portfolio.
mhm.
Mic drop right there.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
so I started with what I knew. And then
Mhm,
from there I grew. I just didn't start being what I do today, empowering clients on a global scale. It started with who do I know? Let me do it for free and in exchange for feedback and testimonials.
and, I guess how many friends or, like, how many case studies did you do until you finally got your first
I
paid
did it
client?
to everyone. I exhausted all my friend group. And
Until
then
they
there
were
was
like,
no
"That's
number
it."
till I exhausted everybody, and then
Uh-huh.
I went on to LinkedIn,
Mhm,
and I had signed up for
mhm,
premium. Um, they will when someone puts in, like, "I'm looking for a business coach, I'm looking for a career coach, I'm looking for someone to help me with my resume," LinkedIn will
mhm.
send your information to them.
Oh, wow.
And so I did that, and that's how I was getting my clients is from LinkedIn, utilizing LinkedIn as my marketing engine because it would push me out to people who were looking for what I do.
Mhm. And
So
then
that's
who
what I
reached
did.
out to you first? Like, who took, I guess, the
There were
chance?
people I didn't
Mm,
even know. This
mhm,
is what's amazing. And it was about me really stepping into like, who's this version of me? Because
mhm,
we have to create that persona. Who do I need to be this person? So I love using the reference of Beyonce because Beyonce is very quiet, very shy, a homebody.
mhm.
But Sasha Fierce, her alter ego, who goes on stage, who has the fan blowing in her hair, who can command the stage, she
Yes.
had to create that version, Sasha
Mm,
Fierce, because Beyonce herself could not be that person
right.
to command the stage. So when we're stepping into something that's so new to us, who
Mhm,
do I need to become? Who's that version of me? Because it's still you. We are diamonds, and diamonds have many facets to them and we just tap into another facet of us. Who's that version of me who can have the fan blowing in my hair, command the stage, and speak with so much confidence that people are like, I want what she has, and I want to sign up for whatever she's putting out into the world because I resonate with her.
mhm,
And I think that's more important than anything is what are we putting out energetically? What are we doing to lead by example? People
mhm.
connect with people when they feel an emotional connection with you.
Okay.
They don't care about your laundry services of this is what I do, here are my deliverables, and here's how many times we'll hop on a call. They care. Do you get me?
Mhm.
Can you help me solve my problem? And do I believe you?
Exactly. Was your first client, a male or a female? Did you always stick to just female clients?
No, but back then, even though my business was called Empower Lead Her Ship, I still had men who would apply. And then
Right.
that was for the resume side. And so,
Mhm,
yeah, it was really great to get again, that was another facet of me. Who do I need to be for this male version who, like, I kind of had PTSD, like, oh no, here's the male energy again. And I'm saying yes to it. But I
uh-huh.
got to, this is one thing I really want to share with your audience. We also get to say no. We get to say no because then we're saying yes to ourselves. We're saying yes to protecting our energy. We're saying yes to protecting our values, our boundaries. So when we think of it like that, we're not saying no, but we don't have to say yes to everybody else, but we should always say yes to us.
Yes, exactly. And who is that no? What is that client? What is who's that no client that you said?
Oh
You know,
my
what
gosh.
is it?
So this is something that'd be great for everybody. So
Yeah, what does
no
that look
also could
like?
be next one.
Mhm.
But the no person is, I want you to create my success.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna
Like
repeat
they asked you to do everything pretty much.
well, yeah, but they're not gonna say that.
Mhm,
But you energetically, you're gonna intuitively, you're gonna pick up by the words that they
mhm,
use. And you're gonna know if they are someone who's like, "I'm paying you, so you should be just doing it for me," versus, "You're paying me because of my expertise. You're paying me because it's an investment to fast track you where you want to go. I'm here for you, but I cannot create your success.
Mhm.
You have to do it. And if they cannot commit, then that's a hard no. But we let them go with love. And we can say, I love what you're doing. I'm supportive of what you're doing. How about I send you this link to do this DIY program instead?
Mm.
We still
Mhm.
can provide resources, but we don't have to say yes to that high level touch. Because they're gonna be the
Mm.
ones, just like you said, they're gonna drain you of your energy, always emailing you, texting you, having these expectations because now you let your boundaries down. And now you
Mhm.
set the expectation, I'm always going to be here and available, and they will take advantage. And then when things don't work out, they're gonna say, it was because of you.
Yeah, they're
They
gonna
won't take
mhm.
any accountability. So we want to be very mindful. Who am I saying yes to and who am I saying no? Is it in alignment with my values? Are they very, for me, are they purpose driven? Do they have a mission? Are they about creating a legacy and making a difference?
Mhm.
If they're about profit, that's great, but I'm not your girl.
Mm.
Like
What does your
we all
process
want to be profit driven. Let me
Yeah.
reframe that. But we don't want that to be where that's all we're focused on. I rather the profits be because we're going to make a difference.
Mhm. No, it's true. What would you what is does your process look like for, if somebody if somebody were to become your client, what do those steps look like, that strategy? That
Yeah, and I would really highly recommend everyone create their own recipe. For
Mhm.
me, I tried many different things, but because mine is very high level, I will
Mhm.
hop on a call with someone for free. That's a $2,000 value because I want them to feel and get a taste of what it's like to work with me. I'm
Mhm.
able to create instant transformation, ahas, breakthroughs, so that they can see what's possible. And then I will provide an invitation.
Mhm.
And based off where they're at and what they want to invest into themselves financially and energetically, I can then make a recommendation. So they can either be a private one-on-one client, they can be a mastermind client, it could just be a 2-hour strategy, or we can spend a whole weekend together mapping out their whole year. So I really work hard to meet people where they're at. And that's the beauty of being a business owner is we get to create different recipes and we get to say, "Hey, what are you in the mood for? I
Mhm.
have something for you."
That's true. What would you say then, Renee, just being in the profession for over 8 years, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure you've seen many other business coaches and mindset coaches. What
Yes.
what differentiates between a good, like, business coach versus, like, a
Mhm.
bad one? Or, like, somebody that just
Yes.
in it for the money, and, versus
Yeah.
somebody that truly wants to see you grow?
Yeah, I have my experience of bad coaches and I used to be really mad. I don't share this a lot, but I've spent multi six figures on bad coaches, bad masterminds, bad communities, and I would be so upset about it because that will make you broke. But
Mhm,
then going back to the words we use, I had to do some self-reflection. What did I learn from the process? And what
mhm,
most people do is they know what they know, so they give you cookie cutter.
mhm,
The masses will give you cookie cutter because that's what they know.
mhm,
I curate experiences. That's what makes me different.
mm,
I meet you where you're at and I make it about you and it's very customized. That's why earlier I said I don't talk about the logistics because each individual will have a different experience.
right.
I have a framework, my soul scale method framework I will take everybody through, but it doesn't mean that we go in order because everyone is at a different place.
Mhm,
But the bad coaches will give you a cookie cutter. They will sell you a formula. They will sell you their great marketing words. And then you join their community, you join their mastermind, you sign up for them to be your coach. And then you find out, holy tamale, they only know this one way and it's not meeting me where I'm at.
mhm,
A great coach, she or he will ask you questions to go really deep that oh, they know what they're talking about.
mhm.
They know what they're doing.
That's so true. What is the one client that you feel like you were very proud of and you felt like, you know what, they really
Oh,
took
Yeah.
what I said and really made something of themselves.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm proud of all of them because I'm really good at vetting my
Mhm.
clients, so they each have a unique journey. But one a fun story is I was at a I went to USC for my graduate
Mhm.
degree, University of Southern California, and I was at a networking event there. And through me just talking in conversation to someone overheard me and said, "I think that's what I want to do." And we instantly connected and I was able to curate an experience for her where I was able to help her see what she could not see for herself. She had an idea, but when we were able to elaborate on the vision and reverse engineer it, because I'm all about Stephanie, creating success with ease. And when I was able to create her own blueprint to create success with ease, and
Mhm.
she saw how doable it was because I made it work within her current schedule, it blew her mind, and she's like, "I never thought this would be possible. I thought this would be something that would take me years. It would take me it would take a lot of money, a lot of resources, and I was gonna have to grind and hustle, and I was gonna have to sacrifice. But you made it where I can start it now, and it doesn't disrupt my current life, my current activities that I'm involved with and I get to start creating impact now. And that's pretty much everyone's success story I've had. But this one was fun because this was someone who was just overhearing me in a conversation. And she had someone's like, I want to do that. And she took massive action right away. Like we signed up, we had a VIP experience. And she's like, You reminded me on what self-care is supposed to look and feel like. And she said, No one ever treated me the way you treated me for this experience. And now I'm going to continue to do this for myself because I now remember and now I know what it feels like to
Mhm.
pour into me first. And that
W
again, it's about the experience. What experience do you want your clients to have by working with you?
She also wanted to be a business coach, or what was her
She's a
business?
health and wellness coach,
Oh,
and
health
she's
health and
finishing her, doctorate degree that she's been
wow.
procrastinating on for a year. So we created her blueprint to incorporate finishing that while starting her business, but again, doing it with ease, but prioritizing what's important, what's not important, getting things off her plate. We had our mastermind call this past Monday, and she's like, "Renee, what you had me do changed everything for me, not just in my mindset, but I started decluttering my home as well. So what we do internally shows up externally as well. And because she shared that story, everyone else is like, I'm going to clean out my closet. I'm going to clean out my room now because they know like, oh my gosh, it's so energetically
Yeah.
freeing. And so it's about, again, the community and the network that we are connected with. We want to
Mhm.
rise up to the level of the people that we are surrounding ourselves with. And we
Mm,
are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So
that's
are
so
we
true.
surrounding ourselves with broke people? Are we surrounding ourselves with people who procrastinate? Are we
Mhm.
surrounding ourselves with people who don't believe in your dream?
Mhm.
Or are we surrounding ourselves with people where we are the dumbest person in the room? Because that means we have so much growth and potential available to us.
In talking about grind and hustle, do you ever have, I guess, downtime, or how does that look like? Do you feel like you're constantly on a grind?
I used to be because that's what I knew in
Mhm.
corporate. I worked 15 plus hours. So I'm like, well,
Oh,
of
wow.
course that's going
Like
to
15
translate
an
in
hour a
business.
day?
We got to
15 hours a day.
grind. We got to grind and hustle.
Yeah.
And no one was saying, no, you don't. Everyone's
Mhm.
saying the grind hustle, the boss babe culture. This is what we need to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but it took me years. I'm not going to lie. It took me years, but that's okay because now I get to teach and educate and empower other women that it doesn't have to be that way. We can be so useful with our time. And now with AI available to us, the sky's the limit, but we need to be intentional. What do I want? Because with AI, we can be all over the place and be
Mhm.
nowhere at the same time because we weren't intentional with what we want to
Right.
create. So I now have a work schedule. I have a team, and my team, people will be like, I can't, oh my gosh. I was working with someone who was, let's say, making 150,000, maybe 200,000 a year.
Mhm.
And it was all 80% of her revenue was coming from one client,
Wow.
and this one client was starting to pull away her investments, this person has a clothing line. And I'm like, you can easily make 100, but we need a rebrand. I was looking at her branding. We need a rebrand. But at the same time, does your team know your vision and are they the right people to get you to those 7 figures? And she
Mhm.
said, no, but
Mm.
they were with me through the grind, so I can't let them go. I'm like, then you're not going to have a business.
Mhm.
So going
No.
back to who are we surrounding ourselves with? But maybe she didn't educate them. But it got to a place where she got so uncomfortable, Stephanie, that she's like, I don't want to fire my team. I'm like, you don't have
Mhm.
to fire them, but then you need to train them and you
Mm.
need to let them choose. I'm on board or I'm not on board, but this
Right.
is where we are going.
Mm.
So we really, as leaders, want to share our vision with others. We want to articulate. We want
Mm.
to be leading with authority, but
Right.
authenticity, with
No, right.
empathy. And we get to do that, but that's a trained skill. And not everyone knows how to do that. And most people who start a business don't know how to run a business. They're just
Mm.
really good at what they do. So I come in on helping them. My background is in leadership and organization and in business. That's where my graduate degree is in. So I know how to set up strategies. I know how to build teams. So that's where I come in. Do you have the right team? Because are you doing $10 tasks at your at your $1,000 rate? And if you think about that, and you're
That's a good
spending,
point.
20 hours, you're spending 20,000 you're leaving $20,000 on the table of you being able to have experiences for your
Mhm.
clients, with you going out and networking, you going out and having a nice trip, going out and having a nice
Mhm.
dinner, just having some R&R time.
Right.
You're saying my $1,000 hour rate is worth $10 of me doing all these tasks.
Yeah. That's a lot.
I'm glad you laughed because you're like, "Oh, wow, I didn't think about it like that."
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm like, "Yeah, that's a really good point." No, as we're talking about money, the subject of money is really big. It's big topic for everybody. What could if somebody that is pursuing to become a mindset business coach, just any coaching, honestly, what would
Yeah.
you say is like the estimation between how, starting off, how much you can make and the most that you can make?
Oh, that's a great question. That's different for everybody. It's not
Mhm.
like a checkbox, and it's not like we don't follow the rules. It's really about creating these case studies. How quick are they getting their transformation? Transformation can be that goal that they had set, that they hired you for to help them with. How quick am I able to do it? For me, I know I'm able to help someone with a block, a transformation, an aha within 20 minutes. So it doesn't take
Yeah.
a 60-minute call. Within 20 minutes, we can get that block. They will be in tears because they're going to say, I didn't know that was possible. Or I didn't know that was an issue. Or I didn't know that was available to me. And I just was able to unlock. That's priceless, right? But
Mhm.
someone who's like, it takes me 6 months to help somebody. Well, you
Mhm.
shouldn't be charging as much because that's a lot of time and energy that you have to pour into someone before they can see an ROI versus
Mhm.
20 minutes.
Right.
So this
Mm.
is going about what can I provide to others? What's my value? But you don't know that till you conduct these case studies. And these case studies and testimonials will dictate to you what you can charge.
That's
Let
good. It's good
the
for
people
somebody.
speak.
Yeah, it's exactly. I guess that'll help, also with the confidence of how much you feel like you should be, charging. What's your value? We're gonna go and talk about, I know you talked about some, one of the most fun stories that you've experienced, has there been any other very memorable experience, during your time as a business coach? It could be a good, it could be bad, just one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
stories that like will always be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say they're from my retreats.
Mhm.
A great story, they're all great stories, but one that's coming up since it's the most recent. We went to Colombia. And none of the clients had been to Colombia. And I created such an experience that at the end, each one individually, not together, each one individually came to me and said, you just transformed my life to
Mm.
another level, my mindset to another level. You were so tapped in, Renee, that you were able to see another layer of me that was blocked that I didn't know, and now I'm free. Now I know
Mm,
what's available, and each one had their own different type of experience. Hence why I love doing retreats
mm,
because we get to be so open and vulnerable and able to receive. But let's talk about the negative side. I've had where you get these coaches, they're doing a launch. So a launch is when they're providing a lot of value up front from anywhere from 3 days to 9 days, and they're just pouring into you and they're giving you so much value. It's called a launch. And then you sign up, you're like, oh my gosh, I got so much value. This person's going to be my coach. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with them. I'm going to be forever transformed. And you get your credit card and you sign up, and then you never see that coach again because they
what?
pass you off to somebody else.
That's happened before?
It happens all the time. And I
Wow.
share that so everyone could be mindful of this.
How do you
And
find a good coach then? Like, how do obviously you, but I'm saying like for other but like, just how do you not get, I don't know, basically bamboozled, I would say.
yeah, so it's gonna be about the questions. I didn't know what questions
Mhm,
to ask. I didn't
mhm,
know, like, who will be leading these meetings after I sign up?
okay.
Who's actually going to be my coach? Who am I going to be watching online when we're in a group? Asking those types of questions because it will never be shared during their launch because they're
Mhm,
not going to share that. But it's a business strategy, and I get that. But what happens is you're going to have a high refund rate because people are going to want refunds. You're going to have a high rate of people not paying
mhm,
because the high touch was gone, and now you
mm,
are being coached by others who they have their own business, but they're doing this as well, and they're churning the people through. You are a number, and they're churning you through, and they're like, this is a 15-minute call, 20-minute call. I know I can produce in 20 minutes. I'm going to say 90% of other coaches cannot. It's a
mhm.
skill.
That's true.
It's a skill that I really got good at. So when you're in these big communities, so that's the downfall. Hence the over, it's been over $200,000 on these types of communities just to be left as a number, to get a coach who did not get me, to be pushed through the cookie cutter formula. So in my coaching, it's me. In my masterminds, it's me. In my retreats, it's me. It will
Mhm,
always be me. I will bring in guests, but you can always count it will be me.
mhm. And, as you talk about, being able to coach somebody in 20 minutes, where at the
Well, you had
end.
that experience.
Yeah, and I did. And when she said it brings you to tears, it really does. Because 'Cause you're just like, "Oh my goodness, this person just met me."
Right? That's what
But
everyone says.
exactly, like, she just met me, like, can she see through like, can she really read my mind right now? Like, what's going on? So, yes,
That's
you
funny you
you
said
really
that because I think I shared it with you. Everyone says, "How did you read my mind? Are you a psychic? Are you a witch, a good witch?" Because they're like, "How did you do that so quickly? And you knew exactly what was in my head, and you were able to
Yeah.
put words to it that were my own words, but reframed it in a way I could not argue with it."
But it's a beautiful talent. So, as we're at the end of the show, can you provide advice in 2, 3 minutes for somebody
Yes.
that is a little bit lost in their path and maybe they're just stuck and,
Mm,
they have so much good ideas or,
yes.
they're just yeah, pretty much. I know a majority of us are, especially once we hit the end of our 20s, 30, and you're like, "Okay, hold
Yes.
on. What have I accomplished? What have I
Yeah.
done?" What could you advise them?
Yeah. So quickly, good advice for someone who's in their late 20s who is looking for that next thing for themselves and they're stuck or confused is I would tap in.
Mhm,
Our intuition will 100% always give you the right answers. Our mind, our monkey brain will not. So tap into your intuition and do like what I had shared earlier. What success have I created already? How did I do it? But most importantly, what did people come to me for? Because those are your gifts. What do people come to me for? What am I good at that I would feel guilty charging for?
mhm, mm.
Those are your gifts. And that's what you can monetize because people will pay for it because your superpowers is someone else's weakness.
And she did it, ladies and gentlemen, in less than 2 minutes.
I can follow instructions.
Yes. No, Renee, it was such a pleasure to have you.
Mm.
You literally dropped golden nuggets through the whole episode, and I really do hope that the listeners really took notes, and really take action. I think that's the biggest thing of just talking to you. It's at the end of the day, the person, your client, they have to take action. You can't do
Yeah.
everything for them, or else that business will fail at the end of the day. So, thank you again for everything. And for those that want to reach out to you, or have more questions, or just want to follow your journey, where can they reach you?
Yeah, I would say follow me on Instagram.
So thank you again, Renee. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for clocking in with us. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you got a career you'd like to see, message us on Instagram. We're always listening. Till next time, it's time to clock out.